Hey, what's up, guys? Tom Kelly here, BeeSafe Lawns, and what you're about to watch is the dealer conference call that we recorded from December 20th, 2012. It goes about an hour and 20 minutes, so it's not short, but we talk about some real cool things, about some new products. We talk about our new marketing program and the way that the new consumer-centric website's going to integrate with My Lawn Quote. Remember, you have to fill out at the very least a free profile at mylawnquote.com, and you get the half price by entering Go Be Safe when you check out. So do that. At the very least, you have to do the free option, or else it's not going to work with the integration with the new commercial site, the new consumer-centric site. We talk about a bunch of other things. There's some dirty jokes being told, and it's kind of long, but you guys wanted it posted, so it's posted. Merry Christmas, and thanks for everything.
What's going on, boys? Hey, good afternoon, good morning. It's afternoon. It's 1 o'clock. Hey, thanks for getting on the call today, guys. It looks like we've got about 20 people on, which is not as good as it's jumping. It's going 20, 21, 22. So thanks for getting on the call today. And Merry Christmas to you guys, and Happy Holidays. I know that this is the beginning, or right about now, is when I was running a business. It was a one time of the year, and really like the Thursday before Christmas, where I would literally go away from the business. It's very slow, and most of us work so hard and so long every other time during the year. The joke around here is that every time we talk to a lawn landscape guy, he tells you how busy he is and how it's his busy time of year, no matter what time of year it is, and nobody works harder than you guys and lawn guys in general. But that week between Christmas, right up to New Year's, the week before Christmas leading up to New Year's, was always the one time of year where I literally shut it down. And hopefully you guys are able to do the same. So, and enjoy a couple of days off. And it looks like we don't have as many people on the call this week as we did last week, which is okay. I kind of expected it. Not last week. Let me apologize for last week's call, because I goofed. I had actually sent out, or Scott or Maureen had sent out an email to everybody saying that we wouldn't be having a call because we had a training in Manchester. But I personally didn't reset the reminders that are automated through the GoToMeeting platform. So even though we canceled the call or postponed the call by an email, the automated reminders still went out, and it was confusing. So accept my apologies, because that was totally my fault. I should have gone in and stopped those reminders. I guess the point is that in the future, don't depend on me to do that, because I can tell you already that I will forget again. And I think Dick is on the call, and so is Scott, and they're laughing right now because they know exactly what I'm talking about. If you get an email from Scott, Maureen, or Dick saying the call is postponed, trust them more than you trust the reminder. So we didn't have a call last week. The couple calls prior to that were really well. Got some great feedback from a lot of people. The one thing that's different about doing these calls this way is that they're not as interactive. And I mentioned this before, because there's so many people on the line at this point, I can't open it up to have anybody talk. And in the past, we'd have everybody, talking at once, and sometimes it would get a little bit busy. But so I encourage you to type questions in, and thank you, Scott. Scott is typing questions in there, but they're profane. Type questions into that pane in your GoToMeeting or GoToWebinar console there. And you can type whatever you want. You can call me names like Scott is, or you can type legitimate questions. Please do, because it's just me sitting here talking in front of a phone and a computer screen. And anything If anybody knows anything about how I feel about this, we're always going to get the most out of it by interacting with each other. I think I can also, I think there's a thing that you can raise your hand. You can click a button that says raise your hand, and I can actually unmute people one at a time. Let me try something here. Scott, I'm going to unmute you. Can you say anything? Can I hear you? I can't. So anyways. Okay, it's telling me I have to send certain information. So that's not going to work. The only way you're going to be able to communicate with me is to type into the console here, and I'll be able to respond that way. Hang on one second. Yeah, Rick, he does have a sense of humor. It's not always a good sense of humor, but actually he's a pretty funny guy. So a couple things we're going to cover today, the last couple times I said I'd only like to go about 30 minutes, 40 minutes. We ended up going an hour. I'll probably do that again today, so jump on, jump off if you want, but we'll talk about welcoming some new dealers. I talked about the lack of last week's call. I already addressed that. We'll address a couple questions, any questions that you've got currently. I want to spend some time on tracking in terms of operations. I want to spend some time on marketing, and I want to spend some time on products and programs. Over the last couple of weeks, I wanted to try to do everything all at once, and it's so much that I don't think I'm going to be able to do it that way. So I figure over the course of the coming weeks, if I touch on each one of those categories as we go, we'll be a little bit more successful. So that's the goal of today's meeting. That's the agenda. We've got a couple of new members of the network since we talked last. So welcome Clean Cut Lawn and Landscape, Rance Thompson, he's in Connecticut. Kalinowski Landscape, Andy in Pennsylvania. Precise Lawns, Mark Williams in North Carolina, and two guys in a mower, Ben Edwards. Ben, are you on today? Ben Edwards was he was at our last call. At our last training session last week. I'm looking here. I don't see him on. Ben is a very cool guy. He's a young guy. I don't know how old, but probably 20 years old. Just getting involved in lawn and landscaping, and he's running a pretty good business. And any help we can be to Ben, I encourage you to help him out. He's a little wet behind the ears. He's got wide eyes, but I think he's going to do well. So welcome to you guys. These are the rest of the dealers that came on in November. We just had a really awesome training in Manchester last week with lots of people there. Lots of these guys were on board. So I want to say thank you again and welcome to the network. A couple of questions. The last couple of calls, I've answered questions that people have sent me by email, and I didn't get a whole lot this week, and that's probably a sign that a lot of guys are beginning to slow down a little bit. But this is one I wanted to bring up. It says, Tom, as I work on my lingo, what best describes the BeeSafe program? Natural, organic, natural-based, or organic-based? And I glaze over that sometimes. Because everything is kind of hectic often. I don't always consider this, but it's important to consider this. So the BeeSafe program, the typical BeeSafe program, is fully organic. It is as organic as any standard will tell you. I talk about this a lot. I really start all of our programs and what we do based on NOFA standards. And NOFA is the Northeast Organic Farming Association. They have a land care division or association, and they have a book of standards and a group of standards that I follow to start with. So in our industry, there are no official or legal standards the way that there are with agriculture. But USDA and NOFA regulations or standards is where I pretty much start. So what you're doing is organic, unless you're implementing something such as the Elements program, or you're implementing anything with urea in it. And we do have a couple of products that don't fall into the organic program that do have nutrients derived from urea. And that's why I picked this question today, because I want to consistently address the issue of urea. We have a product that's a 2000. It's a biologically enhanced urea. And urea is not an acceptable input under NOFA standards. And the reason is because it's derived from oil. It's not a sustainable source. It's not a sustainable product because it's a petroleum-based input. Now, unfortunately, urea is actually good for the biology in your soil. A lot of times we talk about chemicals sterilizing the soil, and for the most part, the biggest offender of that is insect controls. Any insecticide that you've ever used on any property wipes out soil biology faster than anything. Secondly, chlorine and salts that are in chemical fertilizers, and a lot of times that has to do with some of the inert ingredients, some of the coatings that are put on the sources, the nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Salts and chlorine will hurt soil biology a lot as well. But urea as a source of nitrogen or a source of fertilizer is actually beneficial to soil microorganisms. And I've mentioned this a bunch of times, so if I'm repeating myself, I'm sorry, but urea is actually in feed, cattle feed. Cows eat it, and the reason they put it in there is because it helps the bacteria in the cow's digestive system reproduce and proliferate. So not only is urea a great fertilizer, it's going to help your soil biology. The downside is that it's certainly not classified as organic, and it certainly leaches, and that's the biggest issue with water-soluble urea. And we all remember the little experiment that I always do with urea in a mason jar. It's immediately water-soluble. So a product in something like our 2000 has much less, a fraction of a typical urea application the chemical lawn care service would be. So instead of measuring urea in terms of pounds per 1,000 square feet, we're measuring urea, or the use of urea, in tenths of a pound per 1,000 square feet. So to get back to the question, our organic program, the BeeSafe program, is organic. You can call it organic. I'll put it up against any standard, unless you begin to use implements such as urea. Also, if you're going to do a rescue treatment of any kind, if you're going to use a chemical weed control, obviously that's not organic. Just be honest with your customers. The new weed control that we're going to use this year, called Adios, is an OMRI certified, EPA exempt organic weed control. So that's a big deal. Even the Fiesta, which is a chelated water-soluble iron, is acceptable in organic standards and is accepted under NOFA as a acceptable input. It's not necessarily a certifiably organic product because it has a chelating agent in it that wouldn't qualify under organic standards. So it gets a little bit confusing, I guess, in that even though it's acceptable under organic standards, it isn't necessarily classified as an organic product itself. So enough with that. For the most part, your product is organic unless you use urea. Any questions? It's spelled U-R-E-A, urea. U-R-E-A. It's a form of nitrogen derived really from ammonia. So a couple other things that I wanted to touch on before we get into the planning worksheets here, and I'm already long-winded. It's 1:15. If I don't have to go an hour, I'm not going to go an hour. So I wanted to mention to you that I'm recording these calls, and I just started doing this. I'm going to start posting things here at yourlawnbusiness.com, and I got a goofy little saying here. I guess I could probably do a little bit with the design and whatnot. But if you go to yourlawnbusiness.com, I've posted 2 things so far. This is last week's conference call. That's actually 2 weeks ago. conference call from 2 weeks ago. It's uploaded to YouTube and embedded, so it's literally the entire call all the way through. This one here is, I recorded it, but for some reason the format, and it was the way I set up the screen capture on my software on this end, I had it set up incorrectly, so I can't convert it to a form that I'm able to upload it to YouTube. But if you click on this link, it's going to bring you to my Dropbox account, and you can download the call and watch it there. So this was our first one. This was the week after, and I'll post this one there as well. I'll also post a bunch of other stuff. We did a lot of webinars last winter. Yeah, capture. That's what I said, lead screen capture. We did a lot of webinars last winter that people still refer to and talk about now. One is the we called it Lawn Care in the 21st Century series, and we did one specifically on marketing, which is very topical to right now, because you should be thinking about your marketing program and your marketing setup for next spring, actually for the winter time. So I will put that here. I just set this up, and there's so much I could put on here. I think it's going to serve as a great resource for us. Anything that you want to communicate with through, I don't know if there's ways to make comments and whatnot. Just a typical WordPress blog, and try not to get Luke involved here because he'll turn it into, I don't know what. But I just want to keep it simple. So I'll improve it. I'll post things. If you want to comment, or maybe I can set something up where you can contact us through here. Anything like that. So last week's call, 2 weeks ago. Actually 2 weeks ago, and then the first one will be here. I'll put up some of the other ones as we go, and should be a lot of valuable information. So a couple other things before we go into these issues I want to cover today. If you want to set up a conference call with myself or Scott here anytime to talk about products or some of your goals, some operational stuff, please call Scott, because we've been doing that with lots of the applicators. If you just need a half an hour, 45 minutes, and even an hour to review your marketing plan specifically as it relates specifically to your business, or if you want to talk about the products or the programs as it relates specifically to your location, contact Scott, and we can set up a call and really make it official. So, also, secondly, if there's anybody as part of your organization that wants to see these or be involved with these conference calls on a weekly basis, send Scott their email address. And I know that a couple people, specifically Dave, I did not add anybody to the list for you. And a couple other people asked me to put them on the list and register them for the calls, and I didn't. So if there's anybody as a part of your organization that wants to be involved and be registered for these conference calls, these weekly events, send the email to Scott, and he will register them. Because I know as we started here, it's just one person per company, but lots of you guys have 3 or 4 people in your business who you work with and want to be involved with these. So get that information to Scott. So we touched on planning a little bit a couple weeks ago. And, yep, Scott, S. Spencer at NTI Organics. Thanks for reminding me, Scott. Send it to Scott at S. Spencer at NTI Organics. I just opened a can of soda water. That was not a Bud Light. That was not a Bud Light soda water. So I think this is very important, and I'll post these worksheets somewhere too, but we've been talking to people all along, and I think it's very important that you know your numbers. You know how much square footage that you have, or how much square footage you'd like to have. It's going to help you determine your product costs when you budget. It's going to help determine your hiring costs. It's going to help determine your truck and everything that revolves around budgeting. revolves around knowing your numbers. So I want to review these again, and I'd like it if, certainly I'm not going to tell you have to do it, but I think it makes sense for some of you guys who don't implement the planning process, and if you don't, you certainly know that you should. Give us a call here. Fill this stuff out. Give us a call here, and Scott and I can help you get through it. But this is, at this time of year, the most important thing you can possibly do. So these are just basic, really basic worksheets that help you figure out where you are and where you want to go. So at a very basic level, right now at the conclusion of the year, you should know how many customers you have, your beginning count. And these are just made up numbers. If you want to say you have 200 customers, put it right there. So now we're forecasting for next year. You're going to forecast your cancel rate specifically next year on what it was last year. So the number of cancels per customer is your cancel percent. So typically you're going to cancel about 15%. 15% would be a pretty good cancel rate. Anything more than 20% you need to work hard on. 8% are going to move and die. So if you can be around 15%, that's pretty good. But you're not going to be able to project that number until you know how many sales you want to make. So if you say you want to make 200 sales, you're going to have 400 customers. 400 times 15%, that's going to be 60 cancels. Oops. So 200, you're starting with 200. You're going to cancel 60. You're going to add 200. Your new count is 340 customers. This is really by June 1st. Guys, for some of you who are, this is like basic, forgive me. This is something that a lot of companies do, and this is pretty rudimentary, pretty simple. So, just bear with me. If you've already done this, if this isn't something that you need to know or, need to work on, there are a lot of guys who do need to work on it. So just bear with me or jump off the call and jump on later. So forgive me for going back to some of the basics, but it's so important for you to know exactly where you are and where you're going and where you want to be that I'm going to beat on this all the time. So very basic. Beginning count, cancels projected next year, the number of sales that you feel like you're going to try to make, the new count you're going to have, revenue per customer. This is what everything spins off of. Your revenue per customer is your round revenue. I don't count optional revenue. This is your round revenue. So rounds 1 through 6 or 1 through 7, where depending on where you are, divided your revenue divided by the number of customers that you have. If you're using Real Green software, you go to your season summary, you take the total and divide it by the number of customers. If you're using any other software, you can determine how much round revenue you have, divide that by the number of customers you have, and that's going to give you your revenue per customer. This is a huge, this number is very, very important. So we're using $500 as a round revenue here. So 340 customers times 500 is $170,000 in round revenue. Not too bad. Now, optional services. I know we've talked about this before too, but you have to plan for your optional services. Without writing it down and putting together a plan to be able to make it happen, you're not going to make the sales. Does anybody have any questions yet? Good. I'd budget spring aeration, rescue weed control if you want. You don't have to. Ant, flea, and tick control, rounds 1, 2, and 3. Most customers want at least 3 applications of ant, flea, and tick. Preventative grub control, you've got to sell that. It's an awesome source of revenue. Limestone or gypsum or sulfur on the other end based on a soil test that you're going to do round 1. Fall aeration should be a huge source of revenue for you. Fall aeration and seeding, huge. You can bill a lot a lot of dollars doing this. And then mosquito control is something that we're talking about offering. So these percents here are literally, in my historical data, a percent of this number will give you this. So in the case of preventative grub control, this is just a budgeting tool, meaning that 13% of 170,000, you should sell that much. So 170,000 times 13%, this would be 22,100. Do that with all of the other services. Some of you guys offer other things that aren't on here. But remember the balance between doing right by the lawn and doing right by the budget. And without generating revenue, it doesn't matter what you're doing for the lawn. So go ahead and fill out this worksheet. This, add the round revenue plus your optionals will give you your projected gross sales for next year. You've got to do this. You've absolutely got to do this. Renewals, you guys, most of you should be done with renewals at this point. If you're not, it's not too late to implement a renewal program. You should do it. Let's stop here for now. This is basically what we'll work on prior to the beginning of the year. If every single one of you can work on this particular worksheet and be ready at the beginning of 2013 to be able to move on with this, you're going to be in good shape. A quick review of this is renewals. This is a marketing campaign worksheet, and this is something that we go over on the webinar, and I'll post that. It kind of shows you how to do this. Marketing planner, talking about forms and brochures, how you're going to sell your optional services, how you're going to flow your leads out by month, by source, how much it's going to cost you to do it. So let's stop there. Everybody should plan on trying to do this little worksheet. I'm going to close it, or I'll shrink it. So, any questions? All right, I wanted to touch on, how am I doing for time here? 1:30. All right. We're working real hard to find ways to make you sales. And as marketing continues to get, I guess, complicated, not necessarily complicated, but there's not a golden rule in terms of lawn care marketing. You really have to spread your sources around, and so many of us grow specifically only by referrals. If that's enough for you, that's okay. But if you're growing and you're successful, there's got to be other ways to spread your marketing dollars out. And with the way everything changes so often, it gets tricky. So we're really working hard here to try to figure out ways to get the message out to help you guys make sales, and that's what this this new website is all about. I know I mentioned this on a previous call. I'll mention it again. I know I talked about it at training, and I want to talk about the way it's going to link with this here. And you've heard me talk about this as well. Hang on one second. Mike, I'm reading what you're writing, and I totally agree with what you're saying, and I'm a little bit careful about what Mike Callahan in Rochester, New York is suggesting, and I won't read exactly what he wrote, but I'll translate a little bit. I'd love to be able to help you guys with these projections. It's kind of what I like doing, but I don't want to tell that you have to run it through me, because that's part of the whole dealer network, is that we don't want to control or tell you what to do or anything like that. You guys need to stay independent. And some guys don't need the help either, but I enjoyed when I was running Lawn Dog, the numbers and the statistics and the planning and the budgeting and everything like that. I'd be very happy to help you run these numbers from today all the way through the end of the year. And you've all heard me say that running a lawn care business can become a math equation because everything that you do and project is based on what's already happened, and then you just kind of plan and implement numbers. So if any of you want to fill out any of that information and send it to me, I'd be more than happy to work with you on trying to put together those projections and point you in the right direction. So Mike, you're absolutely right. I don't want to tell you you have to, because lots of you guys will tell me to pound sand. But confidentially, I'd be more than happy, and Scott would be more than happy to track things for you and help you be more successful. So good point, Mike. Thanks for bringing that up. So this website, this is the new BeeSafe consumer-centric website, and it's not finished yet. It's almost done. It's getting there. I need to build in the content. I'm happy to take suggestions. Content is very important. I'm very interested in hearing what you guys have to say. But the guts, or the basic skeleton of the site is complete. We're going to work hard on making this website really the #1 site in the country in terms of search results. And the search terms organic lawn care, the ones that come up are usually True Green, and whether it's a paid result or an organic search. So it's not that hard, is what I'm saying. The Fire Valley website comes up first page, and that thing's only been around for a couple of years. So our goal is to have, anytime somebody searches organic lawn care, whether they're in Indiana or Florida or New Hampshire, anywhere, we'd like, or the goal is to get this to come up. And you've asked me often to try to translate our message to a consumer without confusing it. And that's what my challenge is here. And I'm going to continue to try to build in some content that's going to make that happen. So basically, and please, any suggestions, type them in here or send me an email or give a call in terms of what you'd like to see. But the existing BeeSafe website is really all about recruiting more of you guys, and that was important at the beginning, but now it's important to get you guys business and to translate our message to something that is more easy to understand, because we all realize that we're not talking about just bags of chicken manure here. This is somewhat of a complicated process, soil biology, and you don't want to get into those descriptions with your customers because they're just not going to get it. Most people don't want to even hear it. They just want to have a nice lawn. And we're going after a market that wants to have a nice lawn without chemicals. So in most cases, they're just going to want you to do it. But we want to translate it and essentially dumb it down for people. So real quick, we've got services, resources. We'll do some about us. We're going to have our environmental commitment, our healthy families commitment, customer service commitment, blog. Anybody wants to write a blog anytime, just let me know, because the content in terms of SEO is challenging, but cranking out content in and of itself can be challenging. So if you ever want to write something about your business or something about one of your customers or accomplishments, anything at all, send it to me. We'll get it right up here. I think I'm going to take this big tab off and move it down here because this isn't as important. If you click on here, it will link to the existing BeeSafe applicator site, where we're going to go and continue to try to recruit new companies. By the way, we're up to 61 locations and having a great fall, and a lot of that is because a lot of the work that you guys have done in the previous year. Our goal is to get to 75 by the end of the year, and maybe just maybe 100 by spring. I doubt it, but that's where we're at. This Locate an Applicator tab is going to be what this is all about. We're members of Planet, members of NOFA. If you guys aren't members of either one of these groups, you should, because Planet is the National Trade Association for the lawn care industry. They don't love organics. Actually, they kind of love chemicals, but we like to shake things up a little bit. So we're members. NOFA is what I was talking about. I'm actually going to go take a class in Connecticut to finally become a certified organic land care professional. If anybody wants to go with me, that's cool. It's a good certification to have. So here's the way this is going to work, and we've been trying to iron this out over the last couple of weeks with Luke. Most of you guys have worked with Luke, whether he's done your website or done some other technical stuff for you. If you don't have a BeeSafe Lawns website, I encourage you to do so, because it's it's a great tool to market, or just refer people to this. But Luke can build your BeeSafe website for short money. So what we want to happen is for a consumer to come to the BeeSafe consumer-centric website, find a provider. The way it's going to work is they'll type in their zip code. Hit search, and it will come on. Luke, he's probably working on it right now. I can't believe that. Luke just rained on my entire conference call. Can you believe that? Maybe I should have told him. So if you click on this, maybe it'll work this way. Come on, baby. Yes. So what's going to happen also, where I put in the zip code where it crashed, because either he changed something or he's working on it literally right now, this same thing would happen. So I'll do that again, just because I was concerned about it. Locate a dealer. So a consumer comes to the BeeSafe website. They're going to click on what state they're in. Clicks to New Hampshire. Locate dealers. You're going to come up. This is my fake company right now, just to demonstrate it. In Nashua, New Hampshire. View more information, and it's going to link to this description. This is working with or drawing the information directly from mylawnquote.com, and I'll show you why. Customer's going to click on Get Real-Time Quote. You guys have probably seen me do this routine already. Type in their address, type on Get Quote, bring them to a satellite image of their house. They're able to measure it. I know that some of you are scared by this because you're worried about tree cover and all that kind of stuff, so you don't have to use it by any stretch of the imagination. I personally think that if you don't, you're making a mistake. Because if you're sending somebody out to measure the lawn, instead of doing it like this, 9 times out of 10, you know what they're going to do? They're going to drive, let's see, I won't go too far. There's a McDonald's right over here. So they're going to stop at the McDonald's to get something to eat. They're going to look at their estimate form. They're going to drive down here, and they're going to drive down Melissa Drive, and they're going to go, oh, yeah, there's 11. Yeah, okay. And they're going to keep driving. And they're going to say, hey, that's about a 9. If you don't think that they're not, if you think they're not doing that, you've either got the best employees on the planet, or you're small enough where you're doing the estimates yourself, and that's okay too. But most of the time, you're going to get, on average, and I'm talking about 1,000 estimates in a year, just as good results using this, even though there's tree cover and that sort of thing, as you're going to get from the guy driving from McDonald's and doing the drive-by. You can agree or disagree, and that's fine. But I think that my opinion is that you should use a setup like this. So they got the measurement. Homeowner that measures the lawn. It's coming out to 6,942 square feet. They're going to click all done, let's continue. It's going to bring them to a description of your services. And if I'm repeating myself here, some of you guys have already heard this spiel. Forgive me, but I think it's important. Using your price list and information that you're going to enter in to this website when you get an account, A homeowner is going to be able to find you, measure their lawn, get an exact price quote, and go as far, and you can add as many services as you want. Add a service, go as far as click let's continue. It'll bring them to here. It'll give them another description. They can put in all their information here, and they've got 4 choices at this point. They can actually pay. So it's 3 in the morning. Somebody's searching lawn care, whatever. They find this. They find us. They go to their house, get a measurement, get a quote. They can pay you while you're sleeping, and that's okay by me. They can say they're interested. They'd like to have it emailed. Sign me up, but I want to be billed, or save this, and I'll think about it later. So all of this, no matter what they do, is going to be emailed to you immediately. So what we're trying to do here is reduce the steps involved with getting an estimate and making a sale. Mike, again, awesome point. On the flip side of this, we're calling this an inbound lead. This is an inbound estimate. So somebody's finding you and doing an estimate for themselves. But on the other hand, an outbound estimate is that if you've got information, your existing database, if you've got 100, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000 potential clients, and if you've got their contact information, you can proactively send them estimates using a service like this. What you mentioned, Mike, again, is say a customer calls in and says, hey, my sister uses your service and I'd like an estimate. Typically what they're going to do is write down their information, enter it into the system, print an estimate, give it to a sales guy or a lawn guy. They're going to run out, go to do the McDonald's and do the drive-by, leave the estimate on the house, bring it back, enter it into the service. It's either going to be given to a salesperson or they're going to keep it. You know what I'm saying. It's going to go on. It goes on and on. It could become a 6, 7-step process. Instead, the potential person calls, says, I'd like an estimate. You say, okay, what's your address? 11 Melissa Drive. Bang, you type it in. You can give them an estimate on the telephone, and that's what you're saying, I think, Mike, is you can have an estimate in their inbox before they even hang up. And that's, I'm talking about the convenience and the coolness of it. Think about how much money you're saving. You're saving, gas and wages. Your closing percent is going to, I don't know how much it's going to increase by because this is brand new. I'm guessing it's going to double. It's maybe not double because that's an awful lot, but if you're going to close a referral lead at 40%, you're going to close them, doing it this way, 60, 70%. In today's day and age, people want things now. They want things immediately. They don't want to have to wait. Hey, Kevin, can you print and mail the estimate? You can, yes. And that's something that Luke's working on now to make that easier, to make it look nicer. And if you can actually print a picture of the home with the square footage and mail it to them that way, that's even better. But I would default to the email. If you don't have their email address, it would be really neat to be able to print it and mail it, and he's working on that. So I think this is really going to make you sales. This is something that I wish I had back in the older days. I think it's really going to work very well. So here's the deal. We built this with Luke. I keep talking about Luke, and it's Luke Tomanik, who is our technology guy, but he owns his own business. He doesn't work for us here. So when we went to him about working on this system, he took it to the next level and built this that was, I don't know how much it would cost to build, but he's maintained ownership of the site and the system, and he's kind of trying to do his own thing with it, and it comes at a cost. But he gives us, you're going to pay half price. So let me just tell you how it works here. I don't want to tell you have to use this because that feels a little bit weird, but it is going to be integrated into the lawn care the BeeSafe Lawns system. So this free option right here, the free option that you can sign up for, doesn't cost anything, will generate, where did it go? Will generate this description. So when somebody enters their zip code and it's going to go to existing BeeSafe dealers, this description is generated from something that you can do by setting up a free account. I'm going to ask you to do that, because the way Luke built it was that the business description in the BeeSafe site is going to draw directly from the description that's going to be put into this particular, the MLQ platform. So, and that's free. I'm asking you to do that. I don't ever want to tell you have to do something, but I'm asking you to do that. And if you don't do it, I'll probably end up doing it for you in April. So I'm asking you to actually go in and register. If you want the ability to be able to have a customer do that measurement and to be able to get the instant estimate, you're going to have to pay for it, but you're going to pay half price. So typically where he's, and this is the normal program here, the $49.99 is $600 per year, okay? If you enter in a code, go BeeSafe, you're going to get that at half price. You'll pay for it all at once. You do it right here. But if you enter in the code, and it's the next step, I don't want to fill this all out, but if you enter the code go BeeSafe, you're going to get it at half price. So I'm doing the math here. It's $599.88, $600 per year. If you enter go BeeSafe, you'll be charged $299, so at half price. Your other option, if you want to pay monthly, enter in the code $20 off, and you'll get discounted that first month. I was wrong. Scott, you're right. Do it, damn it. Do it. Scott McHenry, who I think you did sign up for this already. He brings up a couple good points. It says having that information in there automatically bumps up your SEO as well. This is all about trying to be found without having to pay for it, right? So you can do direct mail, you can do door hangers, you can do all kinds of other marketing sources, but the goal is for us to reduce the marketing costs associated with trying to make sales. And everything you do like this is going to boost your search engine optimization. So, Scott, you're right. Absolutely. So if you'd like to do it monthly, and I think a couple of you guys have already signed up monthly, not many, one or two. If you enter in the code $20 off, you'll get a discount for only that first month. So that first month you'll pay $20 less than what the typical charge is. Then you'll just be billed automatically monthly, and that's fine too. You're not going to get the huge discount. But at the very least, guys, I'm asking you, fill out this free profile. Doesn't cost you anything, and this is going to be drawn directly from this. I suggest you do the standard one. If you're a bigger operation, there's an enterprise edition where you got 5 different accounts, but this is probably the one you want to do. I got lots of questions here. I'm going to back up and answer some of them. If you've got any questions, please ask them, and I'll answer them now. How am I doing for time? How come nobody's making any jokes or saying anything filthy in the console here? That's usually Campodelli must not be on. Anybody seen Chris Paul lately? I'm worried about him too. All right, so going back to a couple questions here, and Mike Callahan again brings up a couple of very interesting points about. He says we doubled our sales by selling on the phone using this technology as opposed to running an estimate. I'm telling you right now, you're gonna double your sales by using a system like this. Your closing rate is just going to skyrocket, and I think that this is where everything is going. Again, this is kind of ahead of the curve. Real Green has a program called Measure Assist. You know, if you're a Real Green subscriber, you can use that, which is fine, and it all integrates. It's a lot more expensive. Kevin asked, can you print and mail it? I said Luke's working on that. Rick, will there be a direct mail app in the future? Any direct mail you do, Rick, you should probably do on your own. And direct mail is an awesome tool. It will make you sales. It's just a lot more expensive than anything else. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it, because it's almost like money in the bank as long as you can make the investment. And we did at Lawn Dog a lot of direct mail, too much, because it gets very expensive. So if you send out, you know, 10,000 pieces of direct mail in your market, Rick, actually up in Albany, we got the best response out of anywhere. I know that that's a little north of you, but if you get 1% back, if you send out 10,000 estimates and you get 1% back, those are going to be estimates. If you send out 10,000 pieces and you get 1% return, you'll get 100 estimates. You'll then sell maybe 60 or 70% of those. So you'll make sales. The cost to make those sales is just a little bit more. Now, I'm going to get off track a little bit here, because it just made me think of something that Luke also does that's pretty awesome. Where is it? He's got something that another thing he was working on called Track My Mailer. And he's got a version of it here. Does anybody know where that is as I'm looking around for it here? Scott, do you know where that is? Rats, I can't think of where it is. I know if I log in, it's in here. That might be where I have to go. Rick, this might be something that you're interested in. Guys, I'm going long. If anybody has to log off and go do something, you're not going to offend me by any stretch of the imagination. If anybody wants to just keep listening to me rant here, that's a good thing. So when you sign up, you're going to get a login and password, and you go into this back end here where you do a lot of tracking. I'm not going to go into this at all. There's a live demo that I recorded that happens every once in a while. If you want to see that, sign up for this. Actually, Kevin, I saw that you were on that today, and Bill too, I think. So where is it here? Add-ons. He's calling it web key marketing. This is definitely something that's pretty far out there, but I think it's pretty cool. So instead of direct mail, Rick, what you might do is order some of these, and you can have them made in any sort of shape you want. But these are like business card size, and they're a little bit more sturdy than just paper. And they've got a little USB thing right here. So it's a business card that you can put anything you want on there, and this USB plugs into a computer. And when you code this to land specifically on this, and you can do whatever it is you want, any information. Are they expensive? I don't think they're too bad, Rick. Are they? I think they're like maybe $1.25 a piece or something. That's, you know, with direct mail, it's going to get expensive. So, or any marketing source, or anytime you want to make an investment in getting new customers, it's going to take money. It takes money to make money, I guess. So. You pop it into a computer, it brings you to that particular site, they get their own estimate, and you're off. So this would potentially be a replacement for direct mail. The point is that they're sturdy enough that they're going to get passed around, and they're not specific to one particular person. So you could bring them to a trade show, you could hand them up anything, and generate sales that way. So I got off track there, sorry. Going back up to questions here. There's a whole bunch of questions. As soon as I mentioned something about The jokes have flooded in. So I'll read them. Rick mentioned he doesn't have a whole lot of email addresses. You know, if you don't have a whole lot of email addresses in your database, couple things. One, always get the email address. So from today moving forward, Rick, anytime you ever talk to a customer, make sure, or a potential customer, get their email address. It's always going to be an important part of your marketing moving forward. Are payments paid monthly even with discount? Bill, as I mentioned, you can prepay and get the half off by putting in Go BeeSafe, or if you put in $20 off, you're going to get that 1 month discounted. Then everything else will be the main cost, the standard cost. Does it easily integrate itself into your website? Hey, Tina, what's going on? I didn't even see you on here. I'm glad that you're on. And that's a great question. When you ask, does it easily integrate into your website, I'm assuming you're talking about your website. And the answer to your question is, yeah, definitely. And I'll show you how you do it. It's really, really easy. So you're going to go down here to website badges. And by using this code right here, he calls it a widget. So this little box right here, if you paste this code into the front page of your website or wherever you want it, so whether you do it or you've got a website person who helps you, you paste this HTML directly into your site, and this will show up and be linked directly to all of the information that you get on there. The cool thing about this is that it's not branded as MLQ. It looks like it's your proprietary thing. So this is going to show up directly on your site. And a customer, if you want to drive customers to your website, they'll put in their address and the same process happens. So it's really easy, Tina. Somebody's asking if Scott's ready to get divorced yet. Man, the guy just got married. I'm not going to say who asked that question. Scott, he just got married. He's in love. A horse walks into a bar and the bartender says, hey, why the long face? Is it $20 off only for 1 month or as long as you subscribe? It's only for 1 month, Peter. I thought he was going to give it for every month, and I misspoke a couple of times. It's only for that first month. So because I said, Luke, I've already told some people that it's for everything moving forward, that's when I said, hey, then give us half off if they pay in advance. So if you can shell out the $299, which is it's a pretty good, I mean, that's awesome. That's a good deal. I would use the Go BeeSafe code and pay for annually. What's the square? No, I'm not going to read that one, Scott. Can you create a customer label or list, send it to your existing customers out of MLQ? What you can do is you can import. Where is it here? Every time you do anything, it's going to the customer is going to be kept track of in your contact list. So what this does is it makes it very easy for you to continue doing outbound quotes. So once somebody becomes a customer, you'll be able to use this to upsell them. You know, say you want to sell grub control moving forward, or you want to sell them aeration, you can send out estimates doing it this way. You can also upload, if you've got your customer list in an Excel spreadsheet, you click on this, upload customer list, and it will download all of your, you know, whoever's on your Excel spreadsheet. So answer that question. A blonde walks into a bar and says, ouch. All right, I'm not reading any more of these. How would you, this is a great question. How would you, Ted, how you doing, man? How would you suggest marketing to larger accounts such as schools, universities, or villages? Do you have any marketing material? Thanks for asking that, Ted, because that has been sort of a disconnect that we've had in terms of getting that message out there and even dumbing it down a little bit. So there's going to be a button on here. his commercial and municipal services. So we're going to end up filling this out with important information. So a lot of guys have asked me, how do I get into that municipal market or the university market? So in my experience, and Scott and I and Dave Malewski especially and a couple other guys have worked on providing larger estimates to some of the municipalities or private schools. And there's not one particular formula, Ted. It's not like do this and this will happen. You've got to get in front of the people who are making the decisions. And sometimes that comes right down to literally knocking on doors and making phone calls and just trying to get a minute of their time. It's worth it because you could make a sale that's huge, giant. I mean, it's much bigger than a typical $500 lawn care sale. But what we're going to try to do on this website is offer valuable and simple information for those guys to be able to understand. You can also use the this works pretty well, doing big estimates. We did. Dave and Scott and I worked on an estimate for Bowdoin College up in Maine using MLQ. And the satellite measurement tool is awesome. Ted, anything we can do to help you with that too, we will. If you've got a couple of places in mind that it's worth putting some time into, we're absolutely very willing to help you get in there. So in terms of marketing material, the best thing that we're going to come up with, well, the easiest thing is something through this particular website. Also, that video that Chip did, I think a couple of you guys have asked about it. Whoops, and I can never remember the exact URL of it, but if you go to Safe Playing Field. I'm not going to be able to find it. I've already gone pretty long here. Chip and a couple other organizations have worked on a really great video that you can get in front of a school system. Basically, it's like a 8-minute video that talks a lot about why they should consider going organic with their playing fields. So I'll find that and post it on the site. Is there a source for getting email addresses? You know what? Google it, but be careful because often email addresses are what you want. You don't want to get in trouble spamming people. You don't want to buy email addresses that that don't go anywhere. It can get expensive. So there are lots of different sources where you can get emails. Info USA or Sales Genie is a great reputable source. Scott, the question is, can we get half off the basic version or just the standard? You're going to get half off whatever you sign up for. If you use that code GoBeeSafe, whatever you sign up for, whether it's the basic, the standard, or even the bigger one there, you're going to get half off whatever you sign up for. Does Fiesta cure crabs? I won't answer that. Justin, just an observation. The picture of the mom on the baby on the website, she's picking a dandelion, and there's another on the right of the photo. I wonder if a different photo might be more appropriate. Perhaps. Definitely. Thanks for mentioning. That's the kind of stuff I'd like your feedback for. Now it's not going to come around here, but I'll look into that. Yeah, these are stock photos that Luke just dropped on there, so we'll take a look at changing the photos up or using better ones. Hey, Tina, Scott wanted me to mention that Chip and he are still working on trying to get in at Rodale. Grassroots, thanks, Mike. That's what it is. I'll post it at the website, but you guys found it for me, and I appreciate it. It's right here. Grassroots is the name of the organization that came up with it. Playing it safe. Well, that's not it. That's a BeeSafe one. Anyways, Grassroots Playing It Safe video. Scott says he'll send it out to you, but I'll also post it. All right, so that's I just got through all the questions, and hopefully I was able to answer them for you. So again, I want to review this real quick. please, I'm asking you, to make this website work best, you need a profile. And the profile is going to draw from the profile here. There is no charge for you to fill out this profile free. But if you want to be able to generate estimates, take payments, that sort of thing, you need to sign up for one of these. I'm asking you to do this. I think it's a really good idea to do one of these, and you can get half off. So I've been at it for an hour here, and we still have a whole other section to go. And I don't think I'm going to go into the other section because we've been at it for 60 minutes already. I wanted, well, you know what? I'll be real quick here. A couple things I want to talk about. Did this. We've been working real hard on a couple of new products. Mike, I will. I'll have Maureen call you. Dick and she were talking about that yesterday, and I believe they made arrangements for that to happen, but I'll remind them. So in the off-season, we've been working hard on making things better, making the programs better. We're bringing on probably about a half a dozen new products. The goal for me all along is to reduce your cost. And I guess that sounds a little bit counterintuitive because that's, you know, what our business is about, is you buying product from us. But I understand that there's a fine line between being too expensive. You're not going to make a lot of sales if you're too expensive, and a lot of that's based on product cost. So I'm going to review a couple of things real quick here. And I need to update the due diligence site with all of this new information, and I will. Scott and I have been putting together, we've got new labels, better descriptions, everything. We're really going to improve that. But a couple things I want to mention here. I'm not going to spend a lot of time. It looks like I've lost half a dozen of you already too. So I'm long-winded, I'm probably stuttering, and so on and so forth. So we've added a couple of new products. This particular spreadsheet here is this premium organic program is our standard, what you guys apply, basically the 6-step liquid program. We want to try to help save you money on product cost, and things can change over the course of the year. For instance, last summer it was just, you know, in a lot of places so very hot, so very dry that many of you decided that you didn't want to, you wanted to reduce your inputs because, you know, even though you always want to treat lawns, you know, you don't want to spend a ton of dough on the product, especially at the end of the year. We changed up our winterizer product to really reduce your cost. So this premium organic is your regular 6-step program. I put this in here. It's called budget organic. It's other ways for you to save money. I don't suggest you run only the budget organic program, but certain circumstances may come up where you want to reduce your costs and your inputs, but obviously your results aren't going to be as good. And then the elements program that we've talked about a couple of times as well. Most of you offer a traditional program and an organic program, and I think that you should continue to do that. So the elements program is something that you could run as your traditional program along with weed controls and insect controls and everything else you may be doing. Warm season, it's basically this 6-step, but there's usually 7 steps, and you have to move around the fertility a little bit towards the summer. But we've got a couple other products that are going to fit directly into your specific needs. And warm season turfgrass programs vary by turfgrass type. So it's not like the cool season program where it's almost like a one-size-fits-all. We've got a new product that right now I'm calling Resolve, but we'll probably give it a better name than that, for clay. So we've got guys in Texas. We've got a guy in Atlanta. Even some of them up in Ohio, where clay soils are a serious problem. You're going to build this product into the beginning part of your program to break up the clay, add organic matter to the air pockets, and give a place for the microorganisms to colonize. We've really improved the bioscience powder. especially for southern markets where you're going to deal with a lot of humidity and you deal with a lot of additional disease activity. So any of the patch diseases that you guys all deal with down there. This is going to prevent that from happening. It's also, Justin, you're right, this would work for you too. This is a clay buster, really. That's, I mean, you know, I don't know if you're joking or not, but that's kind of what this is. And I'm going to get all of this detailed information up so that you can see it better. There are pockets of clay all around the country, and clay isn't good for an organic program, so you need to address it head on. Bioscience powder contains, this is an improved variety here. We've added monosilicic acid, and it's going to harden the turf. The goal is to harden the cuticle of the turf. And what it does is it prevents that disease from being able to form, or in a lot of cases it prevents insects from being able to do damage. So this product's going to be awesome. Still has all of the species of the bugs. A couple other products that we're going to put in throughout this Eco Kelp Plus. You guys know that kelp is a big part of the program throughout in dealing with stress. As we continue to minimize nitrogen, as we continue to not want to apply a lot of nitrogen, we don't want to sacrifice color. So this Eco FE is iron. It's acceptable, organically acceptable iron. This is going to help you with color. Eco Kelp Plus is a combination of seaweed, or the Eco Kelp, and iron. So in the summer here, where we're not applying nitrogen, in the southern markets, you're going to want to apply nitrogen in the summer if you can. For instance, in Florida, you can't in most counties. But we're going to use the iron and the seaweed to help maintain that color where we're not applying nitrogen. Again, Eco Kelp Plus here. This 604. We've taken the microorganisms out of the product. It's going to lower the cost big time, so that once you get towards the end of the year, you don't want to spend a ton of money on your inputs. In the south, you're going to continue occasional granular applications, and then turf soother at the end of the year. So real quick, I just went over these really super fast. I need to spend more time and organize these better for you, but I want to give you an idea of what we're working on. I'll get this to you, Ted. I'll post it as well, or I'll put it somewhere where you guys can get it. This is my own sort of worksheet, and we went over it in training a little bit the last couple of trainings. I got to get the cost per 1,000 square feet down as much as I can, while keeping the products as effective as I possibly can. All right, been at it for an hour and 15 minutes. I'm sure you guys have lots to do than sitting here listening to me, but I've recorded this. I'm going to post it here. Any questions about the new site? Any suggestions about the new site, please contact us or Scott. We'll continue to get those products organized and up on due diligence. We'll continue to try to make improvements on them. No, you're not, Mike. You're going to go home to your wife and family. All right, guys, we'll wrap it up. Thanks. If I don't talk to you again, have an awesome Christmas. Let's come out swinging in the beginning of the year. Anything we can do to help you guys make sales and succeed, that's what we're here for. So rock on, guys. Thanks. Talk to you later.
For your